Good day. My name is Father Hayden Augustine of the Missionaries of the Poor, and we are at the Church and the Poor. And we have in our audience a group from Carlisle, Pennsylvania. That's South Central Pennsylvania, Diocese of Harrisburg.
Correct.
And leading the group is Lynn Ditlow.
Hello.
Rose between two thorns. Gordon Miller and
Hello.
Kevin Cogan. And we have a beautiful audience here. Some from Barbados. We'll hear from them later on with their Barbadian accent. And some from different parts of the world. But we'll begin with Lynn, since you brought them down. How did they get involved with Missionaries of the Poor?
Well, I read about the missionary poor in our Catholic paper. And there was a trip being sponsored. And I thought, it said, do you have the heart to serve the poor? So I thought, I do.
Yes.
So we signed up, a friend of mine.
How presumptuous.
I hope. I thought I do. So it's just been wonderful. That's how it began and changed our life and brought that message back and shared it with others.
Great. And this is your 6th trip to Jamaica?
This is my 5th trip, but it's my 6th week because I did 2 weeks. We always count that as another week.
Right.
But it's been wonderful, and we've been able to bring others down with us interested. And the nice thing is, when you come down one time, you want to come down again.
Yes. Okay.
And people do that, so we're growing.
Right.
You know, it's great.
Right.
I think we've had a rough estimate would be about maybe 75
from one parish.
From our parish. That
Really?
a few maybe people that are not of our parish but came with the group.
Good.
About 75 at this point.
That's wonderful. That's really great. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
And you brought Gordon and Kevin, Gordon Miller. Tell us about yourself and what brought you down here.
Well,
who brought you down here?
well, we're all a product of Lynn, so Lynn's responsible for everything.
Yes.
No, actually, I joined the foreign mission team about 2 years ago in our parish, and with the sole intent of selling water. All I was going to do was sell water to raise money, and I was not going to go on a mission. That wasn't my intent. And the more I participated in selling the water and raising funds, the more excited I got about it. And I finally ran out of excuses to not go on a mission. And I had always wanted to go on one in the back of my mind, but I went in 2013 with Lynn. And we brought, I think, 20 or 20-some folks that came down from our parish back in 2013 for the same week, actually the same week.
With the parish priest.
With our parish priest, Father Forey came
that
down.
big group.
Right, and so this was my 3rd time. Once I came down, I just always promised myself I'd come down, try to get down once a year.
And how is it interacting with the people at the centers? How does that?
It's pretty overwhelming. I mean, the first time I didn't know what to expect. The first time, and of course, there's no personal space at the center. So if you just have to give that up right away. You give up your personal space, but it's very rewarding. And I think you think you come down and do a lot for the folks down here, but in reality, I get a lot more back out of it for myself. For my spiritual growth is much more than I can ever give them.
Good. Kevin, what brought you here?
Well, Father, like Gordon, we started a foreign mission team in our parish before we ever knew about Missionaries of the Poor. But we always felt that our parish and Catholic parishes in general should have some outreach beyond their borders, beyond the parish, for those who want to do what we say the corporal works of mercy.
Yes.
And so one of the ideas when Gordon mentioned selling water, we actually have branded a bottle of water with our St. Patrick label on it. And the mission of our foreign mission ministry.
Who do you sell this to?
To our parishioners. We do a little bit of the math to figure out how much we could raise if every family would even buy just one case of water. We could, and our goal is to actually send a pallet of rice here every month.
Yes.
Right.
So we sell the water about every 2 months, and we put on the label along with the foreign mission ministry mission statement. We also put on the corporal works of mercy.
Right.
And
Nice.
so shortly afterwards is when Lynn approached our group, became president of our group, and we came down here, Gordon and I, for the first time 2 years ago this week.
Right.
And your experience with the poor, did it throw you, or did it?
Well, it was. I didn't know how I was going to react. I mean, I was no stranger to children, so I knew I could do well with babies, and my wife and I had 7 children of our own, so we did a lot of diaper changing. I had no problem with that. But I wasn't so sure about doing such menial things as putting lotion on other men, or shaving them, or things like that. So it was that was a new experience for me, and quite frankly, I didn't know how I was going to react the first time. But I quickly got over that.
Yes.
It was a very rewarding experience.
Yes.
I was doing haircuts for some of the men in one of the homes.
Cut anyone?
Well, the truth be known, there was one. I had a little blood, but it was not too difficult to do that.
Yes.
But in a real sense, we were told we would be the hands of Christ with the residents, and so I just, if you consider the residents being Christ's sheep, I felt I was shearing the sheep when I was cutting their hair. Was the first experience I had, the first emotion I had when I did that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. Lynn, the prayer life of the brothers, I would like you to share about that. You live at the monasteries and you participate in the liturgy of the hours, the Mass.
Right.
How does that work in with the experience of the apostolate?
Well, initially it was pretty early for me, but as far as the spirituality of it, was able to get into it as far as, because the priest who says Mass usually leaves a message from the gospel that the brothers need to think about during the day. Even though they're busy, they're thinking of this message. So we too would write down that message when we were here, encouraged to do so, and sort of kept that in mind too while we were initially working in the center.
Yes.
So to me, my first part of that spirituality was when someone just came up to me and I'm coming to do something for them, not knowing what I want to do, or what would be asked. I just figured I'd do anything that would be asked. And to have a resident come up and grab my hand and hold me and walk with me, and they can't even speak a language, because of their impairment. I just felt like Christ took my hand and said, "Thanks for taking care of me. This is me who you're taking care of."
Yes,
So
the least of my
I always
brothers
think
and
of that
sisters, yeah.
a whole lot often.
Gordon, what about you and the prayer? The prayer and the work, how does that?
I enjoy it. I mean, the thing I like about coming down here is your mind is totally removed from what we worry about when we're home. And so we're not fretting over the things that we worry about at home. We're basically just concentrating on helping others and serving others and praying and eating and cleaning up, of course, things like that. So for me, it's a place where I can transport myself and just kind of just get away from everything I worry about every day and just do the work of the Lord and pray, which is really, I wish I would pray as much at home when I was there as I do when I'm here.
Kevin, have you been able to transport some of that over there back in the States, the timetable of prayer and work?
Well, we certainly pray more here than I pray back home. The truth be known. But it certainly reinforces the prayer life that my wife and I do have.
Yes.
Back on our children are all adult children, so they're gone. So my wife and I make a point every day to have a rosary together when we're both home together, when we usually are. And so coming here reinforces that, and she was with me on the 2 previous trips I made, so it certainly had an impact, made us more aware of the fact that we should have a more prayerful life back home. The difficulty, of course, is fencing the time and coming up with a regular schedule in which to do that. But that's the task, to go home to make that time.
And Lynn, you said 75 members of the parish have come.
Up to this point,
Has it had an impact on the parish itself? I mean, that might be a small number in a big parish.
Well,
but the parish priest has been here.
I think one of the things that I noticed is that now we have a life teen group, and they've taken a life teen group.
That's for young
Yeah,
people.
for high school, grade school, and they've taken another interest into mission work within the United States, going to like Kentucky, Appalachians. So I think the idea of the mission, that we're all called to that by our baptism, has been brought out more by our teams going. We certainly talk about it as the days get closer. Father is very supportive and why we go to serve. and it's catching on.
Yes.
In fact, when we sell water, we usually sell it every other month. But some people say this is such a good cause, we should be selling it every
week.
month. Yeah, but they understand it is for a cause, and they've been very, very generous, our parish. So I do see them more talk about mission work,
Yes.
and they want to see where they fit in to go. So
Yes,
hopefully it's our trip. It's always open.
Yes, it will
hope
continue
that-
spreading.
yeah.
The people are looking for meaning. Their minds are just searching for truth. And in the heart of their struggles and worries, they seek out the heart of truth. And in the depths of their souls, they are reaching out. And they ask, where shall I go? And the voice deep inside, it's calling out, I'm longing to be with God. I am who I am. I am is calling you. I am who I am. Live in me. I live in you. We hunger for life and for meaning.
You brought a few of our parishioners here. We'd like to pass the mic to the audience. We will speak first to the St. Patrick's people. Yes, Dad?
That's it.
Start with yourself.
Hello, I'm Jamie Keating from Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
This is my son Matthew.
Yes.
We were able to make the trip this year. This is our first time here. One thing that the reason that we came, it was so infectious when you came to our parish, and the support of Father Forey. It was very exciting that everyone was talking about it. So with much discernment, and thankfully from the sacrifice of the rest of our family who was home, made it work for us to come for this week.
How big is your family?
We have 4 kids, 2 girls and 2 boys.
Good.
So
good.
of all teenage years. So it was
Full.
a challenge, a good challenge, a good
Great,
blessing. So,
great.
but honestly, it was an opportunity for us to be the face of Jesus, and certainly to see the face of Jesus. And certainly we saw that this week, just as simply as feeding someone
Yes.
or giving them water.
Yes.
Just very, to us, minor things, but to them, all the world. And as Gordon said, we get more out of it
Yes. All
than
the
we put
time.
into it. And so certainly it was important for our family to live that faith.
Yes,
So.
yes, yes. One sister is there. Sister from.
My name is Sister Margaret. I'm a sister of Christian Charity.
Yes.
We are based in U.S., in New Jersey. That's where our mother house is. Currently, I serve in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I started going to St. Patrick's Parish the beginning of this year because I felt the need to participate more in a parish. And that's when I learned about the mission trip that the parish usually come with to the missionaries of the poor. And I thought about it, but it was only like a desire. But thanks be to God that an anonymous parishioner, because I don't know her right now, sponsored my trip down here. So it was a prayer answered, because I remember like 2 years ago, I was preparing for final vows, and something came to me like I need to go for a mission trip. It was not specific, but I just wanted to go
Somewhere.
So when this came up, I said, thank you, God, because this is a prayer answered. And being here for the last 2 days, for me it has been very touching, because it's doing the simple things with great love, like Mother Teresa said.
Yes.
Like just applying lotion on somebody. We may take it for granted, but when we do it to that person who cannot be able to do it for themselves, then it makes, it touches us more, and it makes us reflect and stop taking anything for granted. And like today, one of the residents was just talking back to me, and he said, "Thank you for coming. Whatever you do to us, you remember you do it for Jesus." And then when we were praying the the midday prayer, they read the scripture, and the residents share. One of them was sort of giving like a reflection, which was really, really deep. And I listened to him.
One of the residents?
Yeah, one of the residents was giving the reflection to the other residents. It was very clear, it was very deep, it was about the mustard seed and comparing, he said like the mustard, the kingdom of God is like a tree, like we are a tree, but we are more than a tree because a tree is planted out there and it just grows, but for us, we need to be like a mustard seed, we grow up and we spread out to the others. And he said like for the volunteers who are there, he said like, thank you for coming because this work needs to be done, but somebody needs to do it. So for me, that was really touching. It was reminding me that they appreciate what we do, but more so, they really teach us a lot to stop taking anything for granted and to be grateful for what God has given us, the abilities, whether it's mental or physical abilities that we have.
Thank you, Sister Margaret. We have a team from our mission state, North Carolina, from Charlotte. Patty Favory, very, very avid supporter of MOP. Patty, you have to say a few words.
Sure. I'm Patty. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. St. Matthews is my parish. I've been here several times to Jamaica, and it's honestly one of my favorite places to go. I feel like Christ is so present in the brothers and in the poor and all the residents that it's just overwhelming, the joy and the love. I feel like through the prayer, you're able to be in communion with Christ. And as they say, praise you all day long. You're able to do that. And the brothers have taught me how to pray in a much deeper way. They've deepened my faith and just helped ignite a fire in my soul that's can only be fulfilled by the Lord. So, and we do have the brothers in North Carolina. We love their mission and being involved with the missionaries and the poor there.
You visit regularly there?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Yes. Help out in the warehouse with the containers and with their prayer services a couple times a week.
Yes, wonderful.
So you're welcome.
These ladies over here, we need to hear from you. No, don't look behind. Yes, you first.
Hi, my name is Diane Hiller. I'm from North Carolina also, but I'm from the Raleigh area, which is about 3 hours from the Monroe mission.
Okay.
I got involved actually through the New Jersey group because I'm originally from New Jersey. And so one day I was invited to their weekly MOP meeting, and that was it for me. I was hooked, and that October we came down to the retreat and spent a few days in the center. And from the first time I came, I couldn't wait to come back. This is my 4th time here.
Yes.
And every time I come, I have what I call my Jesus moment. Something happens somewhere along the line in the week that just touches me so deeply that I can't stop thinking about it, and I just want to come back. And we are going up to the retreat. This will be my 3rd retreat.
Yes.
So that's another, for anybody that hasn't been, it's a wonderful, wonderful experience just being up in the beautiful Mount Tabor.
Yes.
And I came back with so much from the previous retreats that I have gone, and talking about your prayer life maybe not being as much as they do here, but it's become a lot more for me than what it had been when I first started coming here. So I'm looking forward to my Jesus moment this week. I just got here this afternoon, so haven't had my haven't had my Jesus moment yet, but I'm looking forward to what that might be.
Good.
So thank you.
So we have a twin here, Pam and Rose. They travel together all the time from Atlanta. Well, at least one of you must speak, no?
I lost my voice. It's very hard for me to talk about it because I'm so emotional. Every time I hear somebody speak about the missionary of the poor, then I would tear up, because it's always a moving experience. I've been here countless times. I visited most missions.
Yes.
And then I've heard in concert whenever anybody calls, Charlotte or ever, Chicago, wherever they, Atlanta, we have, but it's always moving, not so much as for me, but seeing somebody devote their life, like the brothers, devote their lives taking care for all these poor people, and they're so young, and it moves me. It's the mother feeling. All these brothers, young brothers, but they're not young anymore. Most of them are already priests. But still, you have that feeling that how in the world can they give up their life to take care of all these poor? But I'm not immune to the poor people because I came from the Philippines, and there are so many poor people in the Philippines. But to see these young men grow up, take the responsibility of taking care of all these poor people, it just moves me. And so much that you are, I feel every time I come here that you make yourself closer to God. Especially if you're growing older, you're something knocking ahead. I better take care of my life, so that's what it is. But still, it's, when you see all these young men, and it just moves you. You want to help them so they will be able to fulfill, take that step from being a junior brother, and then you see them become fully professed, and it just makes you proud as if they are your children.
Yes.
So that's what it is.
Yes, thanks. There's a couple from Barbados. We want to hear from our fellow Caribbean people.
My name is Ronnie Ramsey. My wife Marlene is here with me. And I just want to say the first time we got to know about Father Holong was when he brought his marvelous performing group to Barbados many years ago. And we were very fortunate to have him stay in our home with us. And since then, I've been listening to the CDs that I bought at the time until they've all worn out. So I've come back here to get some more. And I've also been we have been receiving the annual newsletter, which has always made us very longing really to come back to come to Jamaica to experience the retreat. And this time we are coming here with a lot of hope and expectation for our personal lives, and we hope that God will bless us through that.
Wonderful.
Thank
you. Gordon, any parting thoughts? Any strong defining moment you have had so far here?
I think the thing that sticks in my mind the most is as many folks have mentioned, it's doing the simple things, and it's like Mother Teresa said, we're not called to do great things, we're called to do small things with great love. But when you look into the eyes of the people that you're either rubbing lotion on or feeding or taking care of, you see the face of Jesus in their eyes. And no matter how sick they are, or no matter how challenged they are with their infirmities, they're alert. And you can see that when you look in their eyes. And I'm always impressed whether I rub their backs or I feed them or I listen to their lungs or whatever, is looking in their eyes and getting that look back. I always just remind myself, that's the face. We may be the face of Jesus to them, but they're the face of Jesus to me.
Mutual experience. Yes.
And that hits me every time I come down.
Yes. Linda?
Along with what Gordon was saying, I think to evangelize what the missionaries of the poor are, that remains with me and will continue to do that. And for me, it's always seeing the face of Christ in people when I come here. And it helps me see the face of Christ more at home. Because you take that love and joy back there in the service, and maybe some things you don't do at home that now you do more.
Yes.
So that's how sharing that charism of love back there. So I will always see that here. And like Gordon said too, when you're rubbing a back, I'm thinking I might be rubbing the back of Christ, not wounded yet from being whipped and
lashed.
But and touching the face, and I know it's him saying, which I said before, thank you for taking care of me.
The Beatitudes, blessed are the poor, blessed are those who hunger and thirst. And it includes us. We hunger and thirst for what's right and good and just, and we all experience that when we take care of the physically hungry perhaps, the materially deprived. We also feed our souls, or they feed our souls.
Right.
Yes, it's really it's a total experience that I have also experienced myself. I say to people, I've found Jesus in Jamaica, not in Trinidad where I'm from. I found him really here in Jamaica. And as you said, there are places I would never have gone to at home, which I will go to at home now because I've done it here in Jamaica.
That's
You know, so it builds you. It really expands your heart.
Yeah.
You know, when you can, yes, you can see the face of Jesus in the suffering people of the world.
Right.
You know. So thank you for sharing that with us this afternoon.
You're welcome.
We have been on the Church on the Poor with our teams from Barbados and from Atlanta and from Charlotte and especially from Carlisle,
Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Thank you. Yes, God bless you.